Also, let's see, get you a breaking development that is coming in from the state of Manipur, where protests have happened and 30 students have been injured in these protests. The students injured they were in fact hurt in the police Lathi-Charge during the protests. Several female protesters have been injured. The protests, remember, were happening over the murder of the two students that Pradeep was telling us about. The images of their dead bodies had surfaced online on Monday, and students had in fact taken out these protest marches, as you can see on your screens. And in the police Lathi-Charge, now the latest development is that 30 students have been injured. My colleague Pradeep joins us with more details on this. Pradeep, the aftermath of the video surfacing online is now on our screens. The fact that protests have taken place, protesting students have been injured. Around 30 students have been injured, and most of them are female. Get us more details on this.
Yes, you are absolutely right. In fact, the tension had been simmering ever since the video of the bodies had gone viral. And since then, in fact, the government had trying to calm down the tension, and they had also come out with a release asking people to maintain calm. But many of the students, they came out on street and they were protesting against this thing. They were holding the pictures of those bodies, and they were asking that why the government is not doing anything in this regard. And that was the time when police, in order to disperse the protesters, they had to resort to the baton charging, because of which 30 of the students, mostly the women, the girls, they have got injured. I think this is where actually both the administration as well as the people in the Manipur, they need to understand, because there are elements who are really trying to instigate trouble, because they can't see peace and normalcy in northeast, especially in the Manipur region that had been burning for the last 2-3 months, because now the normalcy was returning back. So once again, they want to create a situation where this vicious cycle of violence to continue. And I think the administration also have to ensure that such things are not repeated, because if today somebody gets injured, because obviously they will be using these things again to further instigate people and come out on streets, so that the vicious cycle and the violence again keeps on continuing. But unfortunate thing that despite the government trying to tell them not to come out on streets, not to protest, because government has already made it clear that they have issued and initiated an inquiry in this regard. The matter has been handed over to CBI. Besides this, they are also particularly trying to investigate. And government has made it clear that they will be taking action against all those perpetrators responsible for the disappearance of these youngsters, the abduction of these youngsters, and who were responsible for their killing. So that's what the government has assured. I think the government should be given some time in this regard, because investigation is something that can happen in a day or two. So government is to be given time, but where the youth also need to understand, because there are elements when we have the powers, when we are a neighbor like China and we have a neighbor like Pakistan, they'll always be looking for an opportunity where they can instigate people, because they have done it in the past. For the last several decades, they have been doing it from time to time. And in the last 2 months also, we saw their hand in all these activities where they were trying to support some of those terror organizations and trying to further fuel violence in this region. So this is unfortunate thing that has happened, that youngsters, they came out on the street, where they have to ensure and maintain calm, because at the end of the day, it's going to be good not only for the people of that region, but it's also going to be good for the state. And the government should also ensure that their police personnel should also maintain kind of a restraint, whatever the situation is, because there will be element who will always be using these visuals, so that the vicious cycle of the violence continue, because we have seen this thing happening in Jammu and Kashmir also. The similar kind of a pattern is being adopted by the enemy there also. So why to give any of them a chance? So it is important police to maintain restraint, and also the people of Manipur also to maintain calm, not to fall prey to any kind of a rumor mongering, because investigation has already started. Let's see who has been responsible for it and what kind of action will be initiated, because already the Chief Minister has said that the perpetrators will be brought to book. They will not be spared, because there is a zero tolerance policy so far as the Modi government is concerned against the terrorism and the terror-related activity or violence-related activity. Whosoever will try to sabotage peace here in this region, because what they know that by carrying out this act, one, they want to generate fear psychosis. Whosoever is responsible for that, they are trying to generate fear psychosis. They're also further trying to widen those fault lines between the communities there in that region. And if you are able to widen that fault line between, because already we have seen that there had been fault line existing between the Meithis and the Kukis. So they want to create that kind of a situation that can lead to a trouble. But this thing should not have happened. Okay. I think this is high time when the students, youngsters, people, civil society, they need to come together and maintain calm and peace in that region.
Yeah. All right, Pradeep, thank you very much for getting us those details. Of course, Manipur remains on the edge, and we'll have to see how the next few days, weeks and months pan out for the state. But Pradeep, thank you very much for joining us right now. Moving on.